also started coming back to church. About a year after we all started going to church together, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. I started getting very involved with the youth program at church, and after a trip here to Knoxville at Johnson Bible College, I felt like I was being called to full-time youth ministry. So I started preparing myself to come to Knoxville and start college at the age of 30. At the time, I was working at a local paper mill, and it was a place where my dad worked all my life. One night while I was working shift work, a coworker attacked and raped me. He threatened to kill me if I told anyone. This also happened to be one of my dad's friends. It was not something I felt like I could share with my family because my dad was dying of cancer, and this was one of his friends. I eventually shared that with a close Christian friend at church and my minister, and I started experiencing what that preacher was talking about having a church family. Well, in the winter before I started my first semester at Johnson Bible College, my dad passed away. And this was like 1 week after I had brought him to Knoxville to see the campus where I'd be going to college, and he was really proud that I was going into full-time ministry. But with the loss of my brother and the rape and my dad's death, my emotional health was definitely impacted. I left for college in July, feeling somewhat broken, but felt sure leaving the job in the area would put all those bad things behind me, and I could move on with my future. But Satan wasn't done. My first year of college was pretty rough. I continued having the nightmares and developed a type of dissociative disorder. The same type of disorder many soldiers develop after being traumatized in war. I didn't know what was happening to me. I literally felt like I was going crazy. I would see or hear something that would trigger a memory about my brother's death or the rape or my father's death, and I'd suddenly dissociate. I had no idea what dissociation really was, but quickly learned that when it happened, I didn't have any memory of what happened during that period of time. Eventually, a college professor recommended that I go to a psychologist in Knoxville. And so my psychologist, Dr. Pat Lees, who was here this morning, worked with me for many years. And, each time I was able to open up more about my brother's death or the rape, it would cause this dissociative problem. So that made it very difficult for me to be able to drive home after my sessions. So I've become really good friends with another student at Johnson Bible College, Georgianne Wood, and she is also here this morning. And, we worked in the college cafeteria together, and I confided in her, and she started taking me to my appointments every week. Every single week for many years, she took me to my appointment. She not only transported me to my appointments, but she also prayed with me, and she encouraged me to keep pressing on. Then at one point during all of this, I developed bronchitis, and I was not very fond of going to doctors. Didn't trust many doctors. And I didn't have a doctor in Knoxville. So Pat, a psychologist, she recommended one of her friends, Dr. Debbie Allen, had a practice in Farragut, and Dr. Allen is with me today too. Well, this was no ordinary doctor. She was extraordinary and had an equally extraordinary nurse, Amanda, who's also with me today. This is the first time I've connected with some of these people in a long time, and they're here to support me today. Well, Pat had shared some of the trauma I've been experiencing with Dr. Allen, and she was so gentle and kind. She and Amanda were always patient with me. There was even one occasion at one of my appointments where I dissociated at her office, and Dr. Allen put me in her car and drove me home. And it was a good 30 miles home. So, with the help of a lot of wonderful people, I graduated from college with a youth ministry degree, and I accepted a ministry in Missouri. I was really excited about the new beginnings in my life, and things went great for a while. About 8 months into the ministry, I started having those bad nightmares again. And this led to a reoccurrence of the dissociative disorder. Eventually, one of these occurred on Sunday at church. Later that week, the minister called me into his office, and I shamefully told him my past. He then told me he thought I was demon-possessed. He advised me to resign because he felt my demon possession would eventually destroy the church. No one had ever told me this before, so I had reluctantly taken his advice never to work in full-time ministry again. I returned to Tennessee in a very bad state of mind. I took a job at Walmart and was living with friends. They went to church every Sunday, so I felt I had to go too, but I was just going through the motions. I met Robin Cook, who was also here, at that church in Sunday school. And Robin, I guess, sensed that I was a broken person and needed a friend. Then I found myself back in therapy with Pat again, dealing with the continued dissociation. And Robin was never judgmental of that. I was eventually able to move back out on my own into an apartment, and the dissociative episodes continued, and I just felt like they would never end. And so one Sunday night, I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. So I took a bottle of sleeping pills in an attempt to end my life. Immediately after taking the last few pills, it hit me. I'd probably never see God, but I'd probably spend the rest of my eternity in hell with the one who had constantly attacked me here on this earth. And I was letting Satan win. Well, the fear at this point was overwhelming, and I decided that's not what I wanted. So I called 911, and they came and took me to the hospital. They pumped my stomach of the drugs, of the medication, and put me in the psych ward. I didn't know at the time, but God had a plan for me. It turned out that this particular hospital on this particular floor employed the only certified EMDR specialist in East Tennessee. EMDR. It was a new treatment they were using to treat people who had post-traumatic stress syndrome. She worked with me in the hospital and then agreed to keep working with me when I got out of the hospital at her home. But not only was she an EMDR specialist, she was also a Christian. I didn't know this when I was in the hospital, but as soon as I started meeting her at her home, she would pray before every session and ask God to help her in helping me heal. So during this time, I had taken a job at Marriott Business Services. And one day I experienced the unthinkable, a dissociative episode at work. My boss at the time was Judith Craw, and she was extraordinarily patient. And she didn't know what was happening to me, but she protected me from a lot of embarrassment. She befriended me, and we're still very close friends to this day. And you probably know Judith. She's been here before, and she's here today. So healing came gradually, and after a while, I started feeling the need to use my God-given talents again. I started getting a desire to work with kids, to work with youth again. So I started dreaming about what it would be like to become a teacher. But I felt it'd never happen because I'd have to go back to college and get my degree, and I'd have to quit my job, and I couldn't do that. And so I just gave up on that dream. But one day I shared it with Robin, and Robin came back to me a couple of days later and said, I've talked to my husband, and we want you to move in with us, rent-free. We'll take care of you for a year while you go back to school. So I did. I was accepted into the Lyndhurst program at UT, and I graduated a year later with a 4.0 average and a master's degree in elementary education. This is about the same time my extraordinary doctor, Dr. Allen, and her nurse were called to serve in a different capacity. I was devastated to hear she wouldn't be my doctor anymore, and felt like it wasn't fair that God was taking away something that I needed. But extraordinary doctors take care of their needy patients, so she made sure I was paired with a doctor who would meet my many needs. My new doctor, Dr. Jackie Hone, who is also here with her family today, is a miracle. And the first time I met her, I knew right away she was Christian. It was not anything she said, but just the way she treated me. Almost every time I leave her office, she tells me, "Rennee, I'm praying for you." Just a few weeks ago, I was in her office getting ready for one of those tests that all of us women hate. And she sensed my anxiety, and she immediately asked me if she could pray with me. I've never had a doctor do that. God's put a lot of people in my life to help me through these hard times. And He continues putting special people in my life. I'm in my dream job now, and as a bonus, I have the opportunity to work with one of the most special people in the world. Some of you may not think so, but I'm convinced that God has put this special person in my life as a daily reminder of His love and grace. 10 years ago, I was introduced to my very first teaching assistant, Rennee, and she's still my teaching assistant to this day, and just like a sister to me. Five years ago, I was blessed to have my amazing nephew, Joey, move to Maryville. He met his equally amazing other half, Liz, and they were married 2 years ago. They live close to me, so now when I need anything, they're always there for me. Poor Liz. She didn't know she was getting into the role of a human angel to a needy, accident-prone old lady when she married Joey. But now I know the answer to that question that I had so many years ago. How do I know He's real? Well, even though I turned away from Him, He reached out to me through a TV evangelist. I witnessed God bring my parents back to Him and give them the comfort they needed after losing their only son. When I reflect on the time I was experiencing dissociation and suicide attempt, God protected me and kept me safe. How do I know? I know because I truly do not believe I'd be here today if it weren't for God working through these people. There are many times I thought I could just walk away, but He never let me get too far. My faith has been shaky many times, but each time, God brought me through those hard times. He's real. He's real in you, and He's real in me. He made Himself real to me through those wonderful people that I call my human angels. My human angels, like I said, are here with me today. And I can't be more thrilled to stand here and give God the glory for saving me, for providing the angels to help save me, for sacrificing His Son so that one day I'll spend eternity with Him. Just want to encourage you to remember, when you're going through something hard in life, God will give you the perfect angel at just the right time to bring you closer to Him. And if I can, at this time, I'll ask Carolyn to come up, and we're going to sing a song for you.
That sounds right.
$34.
Comic relief.